Minimalistic Living. Today I'll be doing another art video demonstrating structure, just showing my approach and my thinking process as I'm drawing, as I'm thinking about the drawing before the detail, basically. The thinking lines, as some people like to call it. So I'll be drawing I'll be drawing 3 heads from 3 different angles using the Loomis method. One of the angles you'll see you'll recognize because it was the angle that I used in my first video that I did use in structure. But the other 2 you won't recognize. So yeah, and I'll be doing also a figure, but I'm gonna draw the same figure 3 times, and I'm gonna show 3 different ways that I approach drawing the figure as far as structure goes. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, so these first 3 squares at the top, well, that's where I'm going to be putting the 3 different heads from 3 different angles, and at the bottom it'll be where I'm going to draw the 3 figures. And I want to apologize in advance because my camera, for some reason, constantly kept focusing in and focusing out, so that's what that blurriness is. So I want to apologize about that. It doesn't do it as much towards the end, just when I'm doing the heads. When it gets to the second and third head, that's when it gets kind of bad, but I try to edit out as much as possible, so just bear with me. I'm still trying to figure this thing out, you know what I mean? Eventually I'll have an overhead camera, so it'll be a whole lot better. But so I know I said I'm going to be drawing the heads using the Loomis method, in which I am. But what I like to do, or what I found out that works best for me, is when I'm drawing the Loomis method, I like to use some of the Raleigh rhythms as well. As a matter of fact, speaking of the Raleigh rhythm, that's what you're seeing right there with that little circle in the middle of his forehead. That's a Raleigh rhythm. That's the keystone in the middle of the eyes. Yeah, that focusing in on the camera was crazy. It was way worse than this at first. Thank God for editing, boy. So yeah, I'm pretty sure if anybody has seen my first video, you recognize the first head. This is the angle that I used on that first video. So the next 2 heads, one would be like a side profile, and the other one would be like I guess you can call it a 3/4 from behind. So you'll see the back of the head and some of the jaw as well. But it'll be like 3-dimensionally drawn, where you can see the inside, as if like the neck wasn't there. I like to use these plumb lines to like find where the eyes will sit. I'm lining the ears up, the eyes, and then the bottom of the ears always usually comes down to where the nose is at the bottom. Now I tried to do this chin by like using shelving. I guess that's what you can call it. And I seen that the way that I drew the chin, as far as the structure for the chin, I seen that on the what is it? A sorrow head. I still need to learn that, but I ended up not liking the way that it looks, so I ended up erasing it. You'll see here in a minute. I just went back to a Raleigh rhythm for the chin. Yeah, sometimes I like to darken in the sockets a little bit. Honestly, I just like the way it looks when you Add the darkness to it. And then I'm going to darken the bottom of the nose and then the top of the lip, because the bottom of the nose will cast a shadow on the top of the lip. And that's why I'm doing that. And then uh, the bottom lip will cast a shadow on the bottom of the chin, which is where that little, I guess that's a square you'll see. But like I said, I'm going to erase it because I ain't like the way it looked. Let's see, this is called, I think, the mandible. I think that's what it's called. That circle I just now drew around from the, I guess, the nose area up under the eyes. I think that's what it's called. So now this is when it got bad, the focusing did. But like I said, I edited out a decent amount of it. So I'm doing the same thing that I did on the first head, but it's just from the side. The first line right there, it represents the hairline, it represents the eye line, and then the bottom of the nose. Sockets. Throw in the ear right here. Yeah, I really gotta figure out why this mug blurring like that. This stuff is crazy. And I know y'all see me looking down at something like I'm drawing from an image, and I am, because I constantly, like before recording this video, I wanted to just constantly practice drawing it before I got on here and recorded it. So I'm looking at um, the artwork I did prior to the video, because I actually liked the way it turned out. So I said, let me just copy my own stuff. But yeah, because I'm still learning how to get better at drawing these heads and stuff as well, and figures too. Yeah, from the ear to the bottom of the chin, it shows the jawline with a side of the jaw actually. I was struggling with these lists, man. I ain't gonna lie, the side profile I be struggling with, man. It didn't turn out too bad, but I struggle with that. So this is the 3/4 from the back. So we're seeing the back of the head. As you see, I messed up on some of the lines, so I had to erase. See the jawline. I'll probably do another separate video on drawing this head because I had to edit a lot of it out so you can see the inside of the jaw. So I had to cut it. So now we're going to my first figure. Now, when I'm drawing my first figure, when it comes to the body, it's just really about what would be rectangles, but they're actually what do I call them? Cylinders, I guess. Yeah, basically cylinders for the arms and the legs. And for the neck too, a little bit. And when I'm drawing the torso area, I'm just thinking about an egg. for the most part. Holding the traps in. Just simple circles for the shoulders. I'll draw another circle for where the six pack gonna be at, or this abdominal region. And I like doing that because it helps me find that rib cage too. So this would be some cylinders for the legs. And same thing for his biceps. Now this arm, that let me see that left arm. That mug is a little bit too long, so you'll see me erase it. I'm gonna end up correcting it. And like when I'm doing these structures, they're never really 100% accurate. The measurements be off because see, I'm not using rulers. I just measure with my eyes. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, in my opinion, I think that's the best thing to do because that strengthens your ability. It strengthens your eye for art anyway. You're just doing it by just using your eyes. Hey, there's nothing wrong with using rulers though. Sometimes I will do that, but for the most part, I just eyeball it. This is really, now that I think about it, it's like the mannequin. I have a mannequin that I draw from sometimes too. I practice with. That's what this really looks like. It's really the mannequin type of way of structuring. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just made out of cylinders and circles and stuff. That foot was way too small, boy. And this pose that I'm drawing, it wasn't my pose originally. I actually got this pose off of Pinterest. Pinterest is a great app to go to for inspiration. Whenever I'm struggling with wanting to draw something, I just go straight to Pinterest. Instant inspiration. Yeah, that's it. That one was way too long. So I corrected it. Okay, so this next structure that I'm using, I'm actually still learning it. My brother taught me this one. It's basically just framing everything. Just like you see me, I drew a square and or a rectangle, I guess, and I put a head inside of it. And I'm going to do the same thing when it comes to the torso area. So you see the traps, circles for the shoulders, then I'll start to square things off for the torso. It's really the same thing. Same process, just switching it up a little bit, just using squares this time instead of circles. But with the squares, you just have to be careful though, because sometimes it can cause your stuff to be kind of stiff. But it doesn't have to be. You just got to pay attention. So I just did squares right here. I didn't do cylinders. Or did I? No, I didn't. I kind of messed up a little bit on this torso area, but it's cool. Like I said, it's never gonna be perfect, but so it's all good. Just want to get something down. Just to have your little roadmap, little GPS system to get to the finished product, which will be a rendered product, hopefully. So this next, the third one I'm about to do, this is my favorite one right here. This is it's called the Rowley method, and it, like drawn from this particular position of a figure or angle of a figure. It's my best structure. My favorite structure to use is the Rowley method. It's just basically triangles. So like right here, I'm taking the circles, lining them up, and I'm gonna draw a circle down the middle, then bring it down to the crouch, and then from the neck, we're gonna bring it down and find the hips. So if you pay attention, it's just triangles. That's all it is. Definitely one of my favorite structures to use. And I learned it from a guy by the name of Jeff Watts. He teaches at a school called Watts of Atelier. It's a real good YouTube channel. I actually was thinking about going to the school, but it was in California, so I was gonna take online classes. But I was like, there's really no need to take online classes because I mean I could just learn it online. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. I actually learned a lot from him too. So, but yeah, it helps. I don't know, man. It just seems like with this structure, I just line things up a lot easier when it comes to the images. I mean, figures. I mean. And the way I drew the the arms, I actually got that from David Finch. He's a comic book artist. I watch his channel too, so I learned a lot from him as well. This one I'm gonna add a little bit of the the rhythm lines or the muscles in the legs for this one. And you see that first muscle, it lines up right with his hip, well inside of his thigh, and goes up into it towards the hip a little bit. That's how I normally find that muscle. Now, I don't know the names of them, but I just know what they look like. I actually need to study more of my anatomy, honestly. I never really got into actually studying anatomy like I was supposed to, but I know a little bit. Yeah, but that's about it though. Not too long of a video. But yeah. Until next time, shalom.